the hard questions needed to begin immediately so that nobody is wasting their time.
Yes.
Are you born again? Do you go to church? Who is your pastor? For me, I was like, you believe in Jesus? Kaende.
Check yourself.
Yeah.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself. Like where we are now, maybe financially. What if it gets bad?
Yeah.
Do you have to go to Islam?
Yeah.
Am I allowed to inquire for myself? I'm not going to be made lower by me saying I want to buy my pastor friend. Hey, how are you, baby?
Good, mambo.
Hiti.
Tumerudi.
Yeah.
We need to tell people what happened during our date.
Yeah, sure.
Remember when we did our last podcast, we talked about the date, the major date, that one date that I saw the boy in you.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and so there are those questions that we were asking, So let's continue with the conversation.
Yeah, so let me support myself.
What are you supporting?
Yeah, I have to support myself. How
what have I said that you need to
that
support
I became
yourself?
a boy. So
that's what you became.
So listen.
No, I was thinking.
You have to. There's a place you have to get to, and you have to deliver what you want to deliver. The delivery is very important. Yeah, just don't go like see if you're going to cash in a check. Yeah, you have to first of all read the mood. Look at what follows after you say a word, what special expression we're given. So all that was at play.
But you said you had rehearsed.
No, yeah, of course. But when you get to the main part, in the main play, there's some things you have to look for. So you're careful. You're standing slow, carefully. It's a glass floor that time, or rather icy ground, frozen ice.
So you can make it or break it.
Yes, you can make it or break. So you need to make sure you dance. The dance is smooth, or the skate is smooth, until the end and you exit the other side without breaking the ice.
So what happened?
So this guy, you have to know where to play. So of course I come and I'm careful. I'm like, well, you see, since we met, we met, and it's been a few months. So of course we have to recap how it has been, and that's what I did. I just recapped what we had transpired from that time, first time we met, and then again I had to see where to deliver the main point. Yeah.
What was the main point?
And the main point, is how to tell this kagal, this lady, awesome lady, you've just discovered your interest. Your interest is gone beyond. It's past the beyond. It's gone past the where you had placed it, the friend zone. Now you want to take it to another level. The main point was now how to do it and how to express that thought. Yeah. So the main point had to come out clear that it's you I'm targeting now. It's you I'm looking for and I'm after. And it's this at this point where you tell me yes or no.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
So what if I had said no? Did you, when you were rehearsing, did you think about what if she says, nah?
Honestly, I didn't.
You did not?
I didn't. I was confident within myself, and so the idea was, or rather, I didn't have premeditated. So that let me make it clear, so that you may not. I may not put it like as if I had premeditated that I'm going to shy off kidogo or a bit, and then make the main statement out. But it just happened automatically, and I understand it's a place where even after you've rehearsed it for the previous night or somewhere in your mind, you played it again and again. At the delivery point, it's before you get to say what you want, and this is what you want, it will come out with so many words before that. So it happened. This is what happened, and it's a switch that just switched in my mind, and I found myself speaking, trying to say something that I'm not saying. And this is what you asked me. What did you ask me?
No, I asked you what do you want.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
So
you're saying all these things.
I talked like 5 minutes. I'm just talking. I can't even remember the words, but I still was like trying to
prepare the way.
Prepare the way. I'm trying to pick my thoughts from there, trying to see what is the right word to say. Until you got a place now, you ask me, now, brother, what do you want?
Yeah.
And then I discovered, oh, bro, so this now, it's past now the looking, you have to forget all that.
Yeah, go straight to the point.
Yeah, say
what you want.
Yeah.
Because I think if I was not bold enough to ask you that question, I don't know, would you still have gotten away to deliver?
I believe I would have. Yes, I would have gotten to where I'm getting, but a little bit, maybe a little bit more longer. Yeah.
Okay. So we, of course, I said, okay, Sawa, we asked those questions, are you currently dating someone? And that's when you introduced the other girl.
Yes.
Then now we got into the hard questions.
Yes.
As we said on the last podcast that we stayed at that cafe for a bit,
yes.
As we were talking. And there are these hard questions that we were exchanging.
Yes.
The questions were like, now that you're talking about we're dating, and the intentions are towards getting married.
Yes.
And so the hard questions needed to begin immediately so that nobody is wasting their time.
Yes.
It is sobering when I was looking back at that, at the kind of questions we were asking one another. I was actually glad we had to go through that. But you find that in previous relationships or in my previous marriage, those questions were not asked. And as we said that, because we are here now, we have learned through our own mistakes, through the experience we've had to go through, through the time that we had to go through with other people. And I remember I did not ask these questions. I did not ask, questions like, I did not check the spirituality of this person.
Yes.
Are you born again? Do you go to church? Who is your pastor? Do you serve in the church? At what capacity do you serve? If you do not serve, then, how is your spiritual walk with the Lord? I was ignorant. For me, I was like, you believe in Jesus? Kaende. But at this time, I had to check all this. I had to make sure, what do you understand about purity? Getting intimate before marriage. What do you think about that? And these are the things that, during dating, one has to ask these questions.
Yes.
Because if you do not ask these hard questions at the beginning, then your relationship is going to be bumpy. Because you will get to a point where this person is demanding, saying, hey, but there for me, I believe in, just having a road test before we get there. I don't want to commit to someone and I don't know their capacity. I don't know whether they can handle me in certain areas. What do you think about money? How do you handle money? What if I'm not working and you're the sole breadwinner? Do you have people you're supporting? Is there a brother or a sister that you support? Are you still going to financially support them when we get into marriage? Those kind of questions. And I'm glad we had to go through those hard questions.
They're very important questions because you see, you can ask them in different ways. I was actually, when we ask each other questions, I was bent more on the spirituality and the soberness in the Christian walk. That was what mostly we bent to. But you see, even me, I had still remember where I came from with my bias. I still had to. At this time, I had already settled in my bias that I'm going for it. The bias is no longer a hindrance, but it's a good spot a good springboard to spring forward. Now, of course, we had to ask, do you need more children? Remember all that. I remember when you had to when you got to the point of asking now non-Christian questions, a question like, what if we get married? Like future. What if we get married? I want to see so that we can see a perspective of each other. If we get married and where we are now, maybe financially, what if it gets bad? And we have to go to a slum?
I remember that.
Another question came in sexuality. What if we are down in the marriage and maybe a condition comes in and I can't perform.
Yeah.
So those questions need to be answered.
Yeah.
Not, as you said, not test drive. Not now.
Yeah.
You answer them as you feel led, and how you feel it's okay for appropriate for you to lead to answer.
Yes.
Then with that, and it really guided us. It really guided us, and we saw where we are at on our page. And there's some places, of course, you think, can you compromise?
Yes.
Is it something you can go with? It's a red flag. No, it's not a red flag. Can you compromise? Yeah.
You've reminded me, which is something you said to the children yesterday. When you came home, you were singing, you're in the bedroom and you're shouting there, you're singing. And then when you came to the sitting room, the kids were like, Dad, why are you shouting like that? Yeah. Why are you singing like that? And you were like, no, the song has been in my heart the whole day. And then they were like, no, but you're embarrassing, Mom, because you're shouting in the house. And then you told them, but this is who I am.
Yes.
And you were explaining to them that, when you're dating someone, and I looked at you, I'm like, hey, you're talking to a 7-year-old about dating.
Yes.
I think when you're dating someone, let them see who you are.
Yes.
Don't pretend.
No.
So Mom knows this is who I am.
Yes.
Like you can burst out in a song anywhere, at any time.
Yes.
And it's okay. She's okay. She's not going to feel embarrassed. So it's good to be yourself during dating.
Yes.
Don't try to be nice.
No. You're not pulling up a show.
Yeah, you're not pulling up a show.
Yeah. It's not a role play. You're playing. No, it's real life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sad because I watch interviews and there's a conversation I saw a while back, and I remember the lady was saying how when they got married, when they got to the house.
Yes.
On the wedding night. Not the house, the honeymoon suit.
Yeah.
When they got to the honeymoon suit, she saw a totally different man.
Yes.
And I was like, my goodness. I mean, these things, people go through them. Like you date someone and everything is going on well. Someone is in church, every box checks.
Yes.
But there's something in your spirit that just doesn't check. But this person is, lavishing you for a lady, lavishing you with gifts. They are appearing in all your events and they're supporting you.
Yes.
I mean, they are appearing like the person you've been praying for.
Yes.
But when you get there, what goes wrong? What's that thing why do people pretend like that so that they can just get to marry someone?
A good question. Yeah. Because sometimes when you might think it's possible that somebody might be in a season of their life, they've been single and they opt to now change their surroundings to see things will change, so they go to church. Do you understand how it's only a surrounding they've changed?
Yeah, but the person is still the same.
Yes. So tell me, if somebody is out there and is in the same condition, is in the church in the same condition, that they have come with a thought of eyeing someone, then both of them are met in church. Yeah. So what informs that? So these questions are important.
Yeah.
These questions are important. So do you serve? Who is your pastor?
Yeah.
Such questions like that you need to answer candidly, because you cannot fake out that my pastor is pastor so and so.
Yes. That pastor does not know they are your pastor.
Yeah. I don't think nobody can answer this question if out of just picking up words. It's so serious that when somebody gets to ask you who's your pastor, do you have a pastor? Then their mind starts tracing, what question are you asking them? What exactly do you want to hear?
Yeah, the question is, do you have a pastor? The question is, are you accountable to someone?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, are you accountable to someone?
So my mind would start thinking, what are you trying to ask me? Are you trying to find out if my pastor is a real pastor? Is he the type of which has been shunned outside there? So I'm afraid to just mention
anyone,
And especially if I don't have a pastor, I will not just guess a pastor. Yeah, I'll not just guess a pastor. What if you know them?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it's deep. It's deep. When you ask about a pastoral, it shows, and then what it shows. Of course, if you give me a pastoral, an answer of a pastor, an answer. You give me an answer of a pastor who you're accountable to.
Yeah.
Then you're telling me also that I can check with them. It's like a reference.
Yes.
It's like a referee.
Yes.
It's like I can check out with them. Yeah.
I remember when we talked about it, we arranged to, for you to come to my church.
Yes.
You came to one of the fellowships,
Yes.
and you frequented on some fellowships. I came to your fellowships,
Yes.
and then eventually I informed my pastor that I'm seeing someone, and we later, set up a meeting.
Yes.
And we sat with him, and he got to meet you. You got to meet him. Heard him speak.
Yes.
I think it's important that when you're getting into dating or looking for someone, get someone who is accountable to somebody else.
Yes.
If a man cannot be accountable to another man,
Yes.
there is something wrong there.
Yes.
If a woman cannot be accountable to another man,
Yes.
there might be a problem somewhere. And also, when I told you about my church, you asked me the history. Because I told you the history, my history with church, and you were like, why have you been? Why are you new in this church?
Yes.
Yeah, and I had to explain because I had a church and I had to close it down so that I can go back to work. Remember, there are all these things that are happening. Single mom, I still have to pay school fees. I have bills to pay. There's no one who is financially helping me to do any of these things, so I have to do them myself. And COVID was not polite to most people, and so things happened in my life, and I could not manage to stay in the church, so I had to close it. So I closed the church, and that's when I went back to work. And going back to work, it was away from Nairobi. Being away from Nairobi, that means and
you used to work on Sundays, yeah?
We used to work every day. You go away for 2 months, for between 4 to 6 weeks. So when I would come back, that's when I would go to church. But I would commit. When we have online services, I would be on the online services. When something is happening, I'm contributing financially. So I'm basically part of the church, but not physically able to attend the physical services. So I loved your concern that you actually went deeper into my work and asked, okay, before that, where were you? How about before that? Just trying to look at the history. Because you find that there are people who, go to church, but they hope.
Yes. Never, you're saying being accountable. Never getting to be a point of accountability. Because you see, once they get vulnerable with somebody, they fear.
They fear and they flee.
Yeah, that was a really something which had to be answered to the full. It made sense to me then. Now even makes even more sense. You're a pastor, and that dynamics changes. A pastor is also trying to have a front of their own. You want to have a congregation under you. You want to have people who will look up to you. Vis-a-vis somebody who's just a servant who's just serving in the ushering. Okay, the ushering guy can afford to be in that church for 10 years. He's just doing his service to God. The leader pastor wants to start a young congregation of her own or his own. It's very easy for them to therefore to be found at a place where they had nowhere they were. Yes, I know there's normally that accountability pastor. This is my pastor. But when you're off to starting your own congregation, it's very possible that you'll be on your own. Yet, of course, there's someone you check in with. But there's a place where people will look at see as if you're on your own. It's like to the eyes of the men, to look like you're a lone ranger. But this is the place where you're trying to start your own ministry, your own church. You're trying to have a congregation. How do you do that? You always start a congregation. Never starts with a million people. 1,000 people. It starts with either one family or one person with one supporter. And they start maybe even one person. Do you see how people go to open airs and they go to streets? Buses. That's a pastoral in making. He'll end up with 2 people who want to hear him. Where can we meet you on Sunday? And they tell me, you can maybe come on Saturday. That's why I hold meetings. And they come on Saturday. Then eventually they end up on a Sunday. You get my point? So it's possible, very possible that being a pastor, there are spaces where somebody could have asked, do you mean you didn't have a pastor? A church you go to? Do you mean, it looks as if somebody might think it's a rebellion or something, but actually it's a leadership part of it. You're supposed be a pioneer or something. And a pioneer means what is one ahead of you.
Yes. So what I remember now, there is that question I asked in one of the podcasts, that what did you think when my sister told you that I was a pastor? And now we are talking about this, I'm called into the pastoral and this is the direction. I have seen people online, actually last week, I've seen people online asking, why would you not get married to a pastor? And these are people asking the question to ladies or women. Why would you not want to get married to a pastor? But I did not see anyone asking the men whether they would want or not want to get married to
marry a pastor.
To marry a pastor. So what did you think about that? That okay, this is the direction? Yeah. So
you see, where I was at my space of my spirituality, I remember it was 2022. It was 22, just after COVID, and we had gone back to work, to church. Even when the sister mentioned that she's a pastor, remember I'd met you. I'd already come to see you to see how we can plan the house, to sell the house, or the plot. And I'd met you, and I'd seen you, and then I think you told me about the children, and so when she insisted that you are a pastor, my mind didn't feel intimidated. It didn't feel at all intimidation. It didn't feel no intimidation. So like I was ready. I think I could have easily said that at that point I could have easily called myself as a pastor. You get?
Yeah.
Why? Because I was in the children ministry for 5 years. Children ministry at Parklands Baptist. For 5 years. And with that I felt comfortable in the teaching and all that. I couldn't, and then I had interacted with so many pastors. I had many pastors in my phone book friends, and I think even my upbringing was, I interacted a lot with my pastor back home, my local church in Naivasha. I had interacted with my pastor for a very long time, visiting in his house, having dinner with them. So my pastoral exposure was awesome. It was okay. And that means even when she mentioned you're a pastor, nothing much really played in my mind in terms of so this is a pastor I'm trying to date. No, they don't play that way. I was like, okay, I'll call her.
So I remember later your friends were like,
yes. So it seems with that, even as you say that, it seems then it's a big deal with men.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a big deal. A man marrying a pastor. It means you have to check yourself.
Yeah.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself. Like you check yourself that do not turn out to be like will you be judged a baby Christian? Will you be judged a mature Christian? Will you be judged?
Will she submit? Will she be the pastor in the house? Who will be the head of the family?
Okay, guess so. Yeah.
So I think So maybe I don't know what people think.
Probably. Yeah. Maybe that would also play in a man's heart. Would she submit? Will she want her vision to be the one to be carried along? But
there are a lot of questions here. So maybe the guys can tell us in the comment section. What do you think about wives who are pastors?
Yes.
And they have husbands who just sit.
Yes.
I'm not saying you're a sitter.
Not just sit. Yeah.
Not just sit.
I mean,
but
the marketplace instead.
Yes, in the marketplace, not actively serving in leadership positions.
No, with no titles.
No titles. Yeah, they support. Titles, church titles. They support. They're there. Yeah, but the wives are the ones who are running the show.
Yeah. It's interesting. Because now we've been married from July last year, and it's felt so natural. There's nowhere the role had to play that you're a pastor, even in the house. There's not that. I love it because maybe you're the one who's always telling me to pray, and that's what I picked up. I was not slow at speaking it. I now know where my leadership in this house is spiritually. It's so good that you allowed me to even in that part, to be the head.
Yeah.
You have allowed me to be the covering of this house.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Why do people fear the pastor?
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are helped by the Holy Spirit so much that you allow, that when it comes to a husband, you know where to place, where you fit in.
Yes. No, I think it works when the man understands his position. And his place in the home. But if you feel because you're the pastor in the church, then you're the pastor here, you pray. I mean, it has to also come from the man. Like, you have to step into the position that is yours and not abandon it because she is the spiritual leader at church. Then you also leave the leadership
at home, the spiritual leadership at home also back to
her. I think that's where probably the confusion is. I have a life as Annie. I have aspirations, I have a vision, and these are some of the things that we talked about. Like, if I have a vision that is not similar to yours, I'm taking a path that you have never thought of. Where do you come in? See, now in our case, because like you came and found me doing many things. I already had the channel. I was ministering in the channel, going to places, had a church. You see, there's this vision that I had, but on the other hand, that was not your vision. So this is my vision. This is what I want to do. I already had a plan laid down that I was going to resign in 2024.
March.
I was resigning I was resigning in March 2024. 2023. I was to resign from work in March 2023 because I had a plan.
Actively pursue your passions.
Yes, I was to actively pursue my passions.
And also your pastoral post.
Yes. These are the things that God had spoken to me that I'm going to
before meeting.
Before we met. And so I was telling you these things and I even showed you my plan, like a well-written plan. The budget, the cost,
what it cost. That also shocked me. You could even had cost onto it.
There was a cost. This is the vision, these are the timelines, and this is the cost of the vision. And this is when I'm going to begin. And so when you're coming along, I'm showing it to you and I'm telling you this is me.
Do you remember that point? You had that all written in your laptop. Was somehow documented on somewhere?
I even have my.
I remember that day also. I had forgotten. I don't know why I had forgotten. I also opened my laptop and researched, and I found I had a similar.
You had a similar thing,
even as I was not, I'd never known you. That time, in fact, I think that I wrote that vision even when I was still married. Before my late wife passed on, I still had that vision, and you could see I had projected it 10, 5 short term for 5, 10, and then 15 and 20. And you noticed I mentioned the number of children. Because my former marriage, I had one child. But in that vision, I had talked more of several children, not just one.
Not just one,
How God does this thing?
He just fast tracks everything. What are we talking about? We're talking about how the vision. So I've come with my own vision. I am my own person. Then I am Annie. Then I am Mrs. Rukenya. So there are those two people. So there are things that I do as Annie, and there are things I do as Mrs. Rukenya.
It's important to maintain individuality.
Exactly.
Very important. Why? Because as I learned, that God works with the individuals. He doesn't work. He'll tell you a thing. It's up to you to obey as an individual. You have to keep. It's a late Monroe. He kept saying you keep your singularity, your individuality. It shall never be swallowed. God works with the individuals.
And there's this question we asked each other the other day, and. This is not going the way it was supposed to go. But there's that thing I asked you, or we were doing something and this conversation came up. And the question was, does your spouse automatically become a pastor? And the question was, is your spouse called into ministry if you're called into ministry? Say, for example, I'm called into pastoral. Are you also called into pastoral?
Is it automatic?
How do you answer that question?
To that. You remember, we've talked this. Actually, this is what we are going through now. Remember? This is what we are going through now, and my my thinking was, and even how I acted towards it, is can I also hear it for myself?
Yeah.
Am I allowed to inquire for myself? Yeah. Am I ready to hear God for myself on the issue, same issue?
Yeah.
There's no way. I believe God is not an author of confusion.
No.
At all.
Yeah.
And I believe it's about clarity.
Yeah.
So yes, you're married to a pastor. You're married a pastor, and so the vision will always be there, the pastoral vision. I'm not called to kill your vision.
Yes.
And as much as I'm a vision carrier, I'm not called to kill your vision. I love how God has dealt with me in the past. In that I've always been I've always gone with the thought that I'm a phlegmatic. Phlegmatic, a peaceful phlegmatic. Who's spontaneous. So and it has happened. I've noticed that when I was growing up, I would be told by my friends, tonight we have a kesha. And so that time it's at 7 p.m. Tonight we have a kesha. Oh, Twendeni, let's go. Not just once, not just twice, not just thrice. It's been my lifetime, my lifestyle. And so that in that manner, God has allowed me, even when we got joined together in matrimony, in marriage, that now I'm even in the spontaneous, in my phlegmatic, I'm able to run with your vision.
Yeah.
So now it comes to now to hear God concerning where I place myself in that vision. Will it be with where I'm placed in that vision? Where I place myself in that vision? Will I give productivity? Will I bring out the best of it? Will I as well be serving God in it?
Yeah.
And will I be within the perfect, acceptable, good will of the Father? Yeah. So it's never about being automatic. It's just how God combines, how He brings the two of you together, and how He allows the two of you to gel.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's possible. Yes. What I love about the Bible is that the Bible has defined all ministries.
Yes.
And there are no ministries that are gender based.
No.
The ministries that we are called into are not gender based. So the wife can be called into the prophetic, and the husband can be called into the ministry. Helps.
Yes. Helps.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You married now that I'm married to a pastor, into your pastor, with you, and you're a pastor, and this was something I had reflected before the journey began.
Yeah.
So now that it's not that I'm thinking about it now. It's something we had visited earlier. Even in those questions that we are answering about ourselves.
Yeah.
It's a question that I knew. This is Pastor Annie. I'm interested in marrying her. It means she already has a calling on herself, and so that's why I say you still maintain an individuality. And so I come in not to be swallowed.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Not to be swallowed as well.
Yeah.
Because I also maintain my individuality.
Yeah.
And my individuality, as you found out, that it's possible that I can be in the helps.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ministry of Helps.
Yeah. And someone being called into the Ministry of Helps does not mean they are lower than the one who is called into an office.
Both.
I mean, they're
all spiritual.
They're all spiritual callings.
The same spirit.
Yeah, same spirit, one spirit. One Lord.
Yeah.
We're all serving the same Lord.
Yes.
It does not mean that the pastor, now that the wife is the pastor and the husband is called into the Ministry of Helps, it does not mean that the wife is more superior or has a more superior calling than the one who is called into the Helps. Exactly. Yeah.
So basically, that's what we should answer. And so any man who would have the opportunity, a pastor is somebody is a good person. It's an opportunity which allows you to reflect on yourself first before you reflect on the pastor. So that, as you remember when you mentioned that you have to, it adjusts just well if you know if I know my stand.
Yeah.
Where is my stability in my work as a Christian?
Yeah.
And so these are the factors that I consider, and so I see I'm not going to be made lower by me saying I want to marry my pastor friend. It does not make me lower that because now I'm married to a pastor friend, then I have to be lower than her, as you say. And so it's my point. It points back to me and where my esteem
Yeah, your self-esteem,
and also my positioning. I know myself in Christ.
Yeah.
I also think I had been in the student ministry at my church, my church at Parkland Baptist. There was a pastor. My immediate pastor was a lady.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the dynamics are different, but you see now I know dynamics that flow with the pastoral.
The pastoral, yeah.
Especially being a lady, yeah. And I really learned a lot from her. You could tell she had a lot of a point of she was more engaged with us guys who are serving under her. She was more engaged and more even in touch with my social life. Yeah, so I'm not saying that male pastors don't have that, but the female pastors have a thing. They have that. Actually, it pronounces more in them than the men. The man would think it's very easy for the pastoral man to, after they have pastored the follower, it's very easy for them also to give them room to express themselves individually as let them be the men that they're meant to be. Let them, in all manner, in all ways, let them be men. Let them toughen up. Yeah. But the female pastor, she'll go all the way. She'll want to know, have you done this? Is this happening? Have you done this for this to happen?
So there's a touch of nurturing.
Nurturing in them. Yes, nurturing in them. So
yeah, I think it's a good point to end today's podcast, even as we reflect on dating and the things that people are supposed to consider, because getting into marriage, you're not getting into marriage to try. It's not a trial and error.
No, it's not.
Yeah, so you actually have to go through the conversations. The things that you expect to encounter in marriage, go through them in conversation during your dating season.
True.
Yeah, like we did. Like we went through all these questions.
Yes.
We tackled them. We talked about parenting, which we will come to.
Yes.
We talked about siblings.
Yes.
We talked about our parents.
Yes.
As I said earlier, we talked about money.
Yes.
Yeah. Is it 50-50? Or is it my money, your money is our money, and my money is my money? I mean, who pays the bills? Who pays the school fees? Who pays the rent?
Which accounts do you open?
Which accounts? Yeah.
Single? Is it personal savings, or is it
a joint? Exactly. Yeah. So what about business? What if I have a business, or now that I'm in ministry, the money that is coming from the ministry, people who are supporting the ministry, and say we have house rent. And we have money in the ministry, and there are bills that need to be paid. So what do you do in that case? So these are the things that we went through in conversation. Some of them we are yet to encounter.
Yes.
Yeah, some we are yet to encounter, but it's coming. So we are preparing through conversation so that when we get there, they are not surprised. Yeah, so that at least, even if we do not have an answer right now, but we're still praying and inquiring and also learning from our pastor and the people who have, who God has given us into our lives. And do you have something you wanted to say that before we close this one?
Those questions answered. As you're saying, you've not encountered some of them, but if answered earlier, then it brings the proactive part of it. You don't react to things. You had proactively handled them earlier. So it's better when it's proactive than it's reactive. So that it doesn't surprise you that it has happened. So my surprise is how I'll react to it. It has come as a surprise, I've reacted. But when you do it earlier, talk about it earlier, then that's proactive. That's proactive. We always have a point of reference to say, remember we said this. I mean, this is what allowed us to get to where we are because of our thinking. So we can act equally well with that condition or situation.
Talk about acting. So there are things that happened in our next on our next episode. You will see what transpired. So after we started telling our friends, our family, our close family members, siblings, parents, when we came out and told them we've been friends for this amount of time and this is what's happening. things happened.
Yeah, things happened.
Things happened, and we will talk about that in our next on our next podcast. Some things were nice, some were not.
Yeah, but we had to learn. We learned through them.
Yeah, we learned through them. Yeah, and so you will when you come to talk about family and siblings, you will understand why you need to talk about it during the dating season. Because if you skip these things, let me tell you one thing: if you're not married, you will not be marrying the person you love. You'll be marrying their whole clan, their family. You're marrying his history. You're marrying his friends. You're marrying his work. You are not just marrying to that one man that you think you have fallen in love with. Fall in love with that man. Fall in love with that girl. But just know you're not marrying that person. You're marrying his life. You're marrying a community. And so you must know what his community entails, what his community looks like, what his church looks like, what his beliefs look like. And you also have to be one who is free enough to open up and not to camouflage what you think they want to see or they want to know. Be open, be transparent. It's better a broken engagement than a broken marriage.
And can you have an open mind as well?
Have an open mind. Have an open mind. Have an open mind. Whatever challenges you face, even as you are asking these questions, seek advice concerning them. We bumped heads. There are times we bumped heads because there are questions that were too hard to answer. Things that we would encounter and we're like, wow, this one is difficult. We don't know what to do here. But because we have decided that we are dating intentionally, and this is towards intention part, that this is towards marriage. So we had to answer those questions. We had to tackle them. And we're going to look at that.
Maybe you packed me someplace. You asked me to pack my car someplace, and the questions that were flowing.
We'll talk about that. We stayed in the campus during the whole day. Okay, so let's end it there. We might go on and on and on. Let's end it there. We'll catch you again on Friday at 8 p.m. on Ani Rukenya. God bless you.
God bless you. Bye.